kind of hard to say, what if, what if this didn't happen? But there's really no point in saying that because there is no what if. There's only the what is. And the what is did happen. So you just kind of have to push forward.
It's a birth defect. It's like an abnormal growth on the spine, like a cyst. You can get it anywhere on your spine. Like the higher you get it, the more paralyzed you are.
I contracted a rare blood disease called meningococcemia, which is a form of bacterial meningitis that just attacks the blood and screws everything up.
I have CP and it affects a little part of my brain that controls my legs, so my legs don't work as well as everyone else's legs, so it's harder for me to walk.
I found out when she was about 17 months old, and I started to have suspicions because she wasn't walking yet. So she was kind of dragging her left foot, and she would push little carts around, and we'd always have to have something for her to push. And so then we found out that she had CP, and it was really tough. I mean, it was hard because we thought, how bad is it going to be? Is she going to be able to go to school and get married, and will she have friends and all that? And so it was tough at first.
I've had it since I was born, but it kind of got worse as I got older, because when I was younger I could walk a lot better and I'd walk everywhere instead of using the chair.
That was Rachel, and so I think we would talk about it, and we would, like, other little kids would come up and say, why is she not walking? Or, why does she wear those? She used to wear these little plastic braces on her legs, and we would just say, well, her legs just don't work like your legs. It's hard for her to walk. She doesn't have a very good balance. And so we'd kind of just explain it in a simple way at first, and then as she got older, we would explain more about it.
When I was 14, just before I entered high school, I've always been like an outdoorsman. I've always loved going outside and hiking and camping. And when I was 14, just before I entered high school, I was hiking. I was doing a 3-day, 30-mile trip along the Appalachian Trail. And I got back from the hike around 3 o'clock on a Thursday. Around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock that night, I started feeling a little sick. Just thought I had a bad case of the flu. The next day, by around noon, I collapsed out on the floor. Couldn't feel anything from the mid-chest down, was in excruciating pain. Was rushed to the hospital where I was induced into a coma, read my last rites, was given about a 10% chance of surviving through the night. I was in a coma for 2 months where I had my legs amputated above the knee and my hands amputated at the forearms, and I'd say I had probably about 35% of my body covered in skin grafts and burn scars. And I woke up to find that I was no longer that healthy, strong teenager anymore. Now I was like 50 pounds, swaddled in bandages, couldn't feed myself, couldn't sit up on my own, could barely speak at that point. Normally meningitis enters the spinal cord in the brain. Mine strictly entered my bloodstream. And what it does is it attacks the blood, so my blood was literally running through me like water. I had a heart rate of over 300 beats per minute. When I initially got sick, I had multiple organ failure. I had no blood pressure for many, many hours. So it's a very scary and a very dangerous disease that is vaccine preventable. At that point, it was like, this is my life. This is what I'm gonna have to deal with, and the only thing that matters is that I made it through. I survived. Is my life gonna be difficult? Probably. Am I still gonna have a life to live? Absolutely. And that was the important thing.
they're born the way they are. I was born the way I am, so I mean, it's normal to me.
I use it pretty much all the time when I'm out in public and stuff, but at home I still walk a little bit.
They give you information on CP, and they'll do research for you and send you information. So I did that, and we started therapy, and we talked to a lot of other families with kids with CP. She always knew, like, she could never walk like the other kids, and so I think she always, I don't know as much as she could know at a young age.
When I was younger and I first kind of started to use it, it wasn't that like when people have injuries, they usually just like get all depressed. Like for me, it was better because like I knew what it was like to have it be really hard for me to walk, so it was more of like a good thing, kind of.
You know, I think just because that's always how she was, and she never really knew another way, that, you know, she's always been really upbeat and, you know, just kind of like, hey, I can, you know, pretty much do what I want to do.
It made me more independent because I didn't have to have an aide at school anymore. Because like before, I always had an aide at school in case I fell. But when I have my chair, like I don't need to worry about falling or anything.
You know, it would have been really easy for someone to get really down and depressed about it. But to be honest with you, I had such a wonderful support system. I had my family around me the entire time. I had all my friends, and to me, the most important thing is the fact that I had survived. I didn't really mind the fact that I was in a wheelchair and that, you know, the whole journey of rehabilitation I was going to have to go through.
My parents really helped me out a lot. They supported me and did a lot for me all through my childhood, and my teachers also did a lot for me too.
It was the captain of my sled hockey team. He was a total Italian from Queens, and he really took me under his wing and taught me not only really how to be, he didn't only teach me about sports and sled hockey, he taught me how to be disabled. But more than that, he taught me how to be a man about my disability. I could imagine all I want that, if I never had lost my limbs, I'd be a professional hockey player, traveling all around the world, dating supermodels, driving, you know, Ferrari, stuff like that. You can't really look back on anything with regrets because at this point, there's no changing it. You just kind of have to push forward.
I've been asked before if I would rather be like normal, able-bodied than be in a wheelchair, and I honestly wouldn't, because like this is the life I know, and I feel like I have a lot more opportunities now, honestly, than I would if I was able-bodied.
After so long in a wheelchair, you don't think about it as a disability, you just think of it as your life. My mind immediately went to sports. How can I play sports again? I want to play sports again.
Honestly, I just kind of wanted to try swimming. My mom asked me if it was something that I wanted to try, and she said it would be kind of fun, so I said, why not?
If I wasn't playing sports, I don't know what I'd be doing.
When she was in elementary school, she had an aide named Miss June, and Miss June was into sports, and I think they would just, on the playground, Rachel just really wanted to join in and play, and so they would practice shooting baskets. And I remember one day Rachel finally made her first basket, and she was so thrilled, and from then on, it was just like every day they would be out there and she'd be practicing and practicing.
The first time I tried it, I thought, okay, it's hard, but it's more equal. And I remember my first practice like perfectly. Like no one passed me the ball and I had a bunch of blisters on my hands.
Like 2 years after I got hurt, I've been playing hockey for 2 years, and one of my teammates suggested I go look at a sport called wheelchair rugby. After about a year, I joined the New York City rugby team, and the rest is history.
She first started, she was probably about 11 and she wasn't really very good. Nobody would give her the ball and I think, oh God, just let him throw her the ball just one time. Gradually, she just developed such a love for it that she just really stuck with it and improved and improved. And so after a couple years, we were like, wow, she's really getting better.
I liked it because everyone had a disability, but it was more fun because it wasn't like, because it was like the first time it was actually kind of fair instead of like trying to play with all able-bodied people.
Training is really beneficial to people just because your activities of daily living require a certain amount of strength as well as endurance throughout the day. And imagine someone who's weaker that has to now endure all of those things throughout the day. They now get more and more tired or fatigued at the end of the day. You're at your weakest point, and your inability to do things is probably the most frustrating part of the disability. So you really want to see people pick up and be able to take on the ability to not only do their own tasks, but then also be able to, see that they can do a lot more than they thought they could, you know.
I think it's more of like a head clear, and a lot of swimmers will say that, like when they're in the water, they feel like free, basically, like all their other thoughts are gone. You know, they're just thinking about swimming.
Oh, it's really rewarding to see people change and take hold of fitness, primarily, because you're able to see people not only flourish physically, but also mentally, as well as being able to come out of their shell. So you see a lot of people that may have had adverse health conditions change those. You'll see people that are weak initially that now are strong. You see people who were shy who are now outgoing. And all of those things are really beneficial, and that's exactly what you want to see here.
It just made my life so much better, and it just has given me a lot because like a bunch of people at school play sports and I play a sport too, so I'm not like left out in that kind of sense.
I think we thought, wow, this is not really holding her back at all. In fact, like in a strange way, I guess it opens, it opens doors for her, things that we never thought. We worried so much about how she would do, and then with the sport, it's like, wow, this is gonna be okay.
It's just brought me so many opportunities, and now I can go to college and play basketball, and I can go to the Paralympics and all this great things that I wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't playing sports.
She has such a positive attitude, and you know, she just loves it. So I'm so glad that she found it.
Sports really got me out of the hospital. When I first got disabled, sports are what got me out of everything, what really got me through everything that I was going through. And I owe my life to sports.
You see what kind of stuff he can do, you know, like without any limbs. Makes you not take anything for granted, you know, like why can't I do that too, or push just as hard?
The experiences I've gotten, you just can't top them. Some of the people that I've met are fantastic. I've gone to 2 Olympics, 2 World Cups. I've traveled all over the country playing, meeting great people. I've played in Europe a couple times.
He's very independent. He does everything on his own pretty much. And then people always ask us too. It's 2 chair guys that live together, and we get a lot done together. There's things I do that he can't do, and then there's things he does that I can't do. So it's good teamwork.
It was my first Olympics, and actually my whole family went out except for my mother because she was really sick and she had to stay back in the US. And the day before we played in the gold medal game, I called home, and my aunt picked up, and apparently my mom had slipped into a coma. And I didn't really try to think about it. I just tried to put it out of my mind and go out there and play and do whatever I had to do to win a gold medal. And I went straight from the gold medal game back to the village, grabbed my suitcase and went straight to the airport because unfortunately my mother passed away shortly after winning. And in my mind, that was really the last gift that I could give her, was to have her die knowing that her son was an Olympic champion.
When I was 12, I made my first national team trials cut to be able to go to trials, and my first meet was in San Antonio in 2010, and I thought that was pretty cool because I was swimming against like world-class swimmers from like all over the world. It's pretty special because I mean not everybody gets to do it, and it makes me feel good that I'm such a good athlete, you know.
A lot of able-bodied people, I mean, a lot of them don't get to go to the Olympics. And like for me, I have a really good chance to go to the Paralympics because I'm in a chair and because I have a disability.
It's amazing. I mean, I look at it and go, wow, I don't think I could ever do that. You know, and so I see her and I'm amazed at how much she pushes herself and how well she does and how she just never gives up.
Not only swimming, I mean basketball too has made me more independent. Like I've traveled on my own to some places, had to take care of myself, so it's made me a lot more independent. Before I started sports, I really didn't think that there was anything special out there that I could really do. I mentor kids with new spinal cord injuries. I just basically make it easier for them to adapt to their new life.
From like playing wheelchair basketball, I've gained a lot more confidence and I'm a lot stronger, like physically and mentally. Like I can take a lot more.
I mean, my teammates, I've had so many over the years in both rugby and hockey, and we're all out there. We all want to win. We're all out there helping each other, and when it comes down to it, all we have out there is each other. So it creates a bond that, you know, we have to trust each other. We have to pick each other up when someone's having a bad day, both on the court and off court.
I have a lot of friends, able-bodied and disabled, that I've made out of swimming. So that's probably the best thing.
It's really made me a better person because like now in life, like I try to go out and help people and introduce wheelchair basketball to people so they can do something like meaningful in their life and have fun.
One of the best things I get out of being a rugby player is seeing a kid coming out for the first time, you know, someone who ended up in a wheelchair, a 21-year-old kid who ended up in a wheelchair a year ago, 9 months ago. And this is his first time out and his first time, you know, being around other guys in chairs and first time ever playing sports since his accident. And just a smile on his face, the look that he has when he's out there, he's just one of the guys again. He's not disabled, he's not, you know, anything any different than anyone else. He's one of the guys. He's on a team, he's exactly the way that everyone wants to be treated is the way that he feels right now. And that's the best feeling to me.
I plan on continuing sports in college and keeping on training and going to trials and hopefully making the national team to go to Rio 2016.
Like once I go to college and start playing college wheelchair basketball, it'll really open a lot of doors.
Come on, hustle! The faster you push, the quicker you're done!
Well, I think it just, you know, makes us really see how if you apply yourself and you work hard, you can, you know, you can get what you want out of life.
I see myself still competing in the Paralympics, probably playing on the college basketball team still.
Rio de Janeiro in 2016 and playing basketball at a college.
For our club team, we have nationals, our national championship coming up in 3 weeks, and the big goal is to win it all and be #1 in the country.
The thing that I would love to accomplish right now in rugby is just passing the sport on. You know, getting kids involved, getting new injuries involved. Taking a sport that's given me so much and a sport that I love so dearly and using it to help others.
If I'm gonna be an inspiration, I wanna be an inspiration because, not because I'm in a chair, but because people see what I'm doing in my life and wanna do something meaningful in their life.
If I had to tell someone who's new in a wheelchair one thing.
Just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you can't do what other kids can do. Like, don't limit yourself just because of an injury or a disability.
It's not the end of the world if you have a disability. It's just a different way of living, and you'll probably learn a lot more in a wheelchair.
I think that one thing would probably be, it gets better. I mean, whenever I meet a new injury, I don't sugarcoat it. I say, listen man, this sucks. I know it sucks because I was there once. But believe me, it will get better. You'll be able to get stronger. You'll be able to do whatever you want. You'll get your life back. But it's up to you to get there.